Hello all you lovely people, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Carrie. If you like my content, feel free to hit that subscribe button and like this video, give it a thumbs up, it helps me out. Let's get into today's video. So I wanted to explain real quick why I haven't been uploading on my normal schedule or even really posting to Instagram 2 Sundays ago. So today's a Friday, so yeah, it's been like almost 3 weeks ago. We saw that a huge storm was coming in. It was going to be an ice/snowstorm, and I have an hour commute. My husband was not comfortable with me making the commute on icy roads. A lot of the roads that I would drive would be back roads, and so therefore they probably wouldn't be salted in time, and you know, my car doesn't have 4-wheel drive or anything, so if I got in a ditch, more than likely I wasn't going to be getting out. So we ended up coming up to stay with one of the families I nanny for that we actually have become really good friends with. We only packed to stay with them for 2 days. Like, we were just going to stay Monday and Tuesday. We ended up staying until Sunday. That's how bad the roads were and the storm was. My husband literally had the whole week off of work. They told him that he didn't have to come in, so he didn't have to like use any vacation time or anything like that, so that was nice. We had the equipment, like we had my camera and everything, but it was just kind of a crazy week because of me already messing up the schedule by posting a video yesterday, which if you haven't seen that yet, I would highly suggest going and watching that. I will be posting this kind of content on Tuesdays normally, and then Saturdays we'll be back to our content about caring for children. In this video, I did want to go through real quick the signs and symptoms that I've already been having. If you saw my last video, I am pregnant, and this is a really big deal for me. I donated my eggs in May of 2020. On average, a woman produces 1 egg a month, and they put me on a bunch of injections so that they could get a bunch of eggs for me all at once. In fact, I produced 25 eggs, which means I was able to donate to 2 different families. Before the egg donation actually happened, they had me on birth control for 8 months. And in fact, the birth control by itself, just 1 a day, was still not strong enough for my body. I had never had birth control before this point, so I think my body was very like confused by it, or I guess pure to it. So by the time I was just on that 1 pill, basically my follicles were still breaking through and producing an egg, even though I was on birth control. So they've had to put me on double birth control, and the reason they did the birth control is to control my cycle, so that they could say when I had my menstruation and all of that, so that they could time it for their purposes. I think that birth control is really what messed me up, plus the injections of things that I got was just too much for my body. My body is very sensitive. So all that to say, ever since I donated my eggs, even though I was told it would not affect fertility, I was actually even told that the white blood cells in that area would increase my chances of becoming pregnant the month immediately after the egg donation. That did not happen, as we tried for 8 months, and I took like OPKs, I did all the things. I was like watching my diet, which obviously, like, with what I had, which I believe was I still probably have it, is a candida overgrowth, which basically means that my hormones were pushed so far off balance that this candida, which everyone has a healthy amount of in their body, started to overgrow. And then when you have candida overgrowth, it actually makes you crave things like sugar, and it makes you very fatigued. So when you're craving sugar and you're always exhausted, it's hard to want to eat right and exercise. I still did as much as I could, but like, I know I didn't keep up with it like I should have. And also a side effect is not being able to lose weight. You actually gain weight. So I just wanted to give you a quick backdrop of this story, okay? If you haven't watched my last video, go and watch it. It's basically the video that I watched other people do for a long time. I watch reaction videos all the time, and I thought to myself, I'm probably just gonna be so excited I'll never cry and all of that. But in that moment of seeing those 2 lines on the test, I was legitimately not ready for it. Like, I was just like in pure shock. Getting into my signs and symptoms real quick, I'm just gonna tell you, so I know because my hormones are so off balance, I thought there's no way I can get pregnant anytime soon. I had actually just gotten over like a 2.5 week infection, and it was just bad. Like, again, it's not something that I can really like do much about. I just kind of have to ride it out, do my best with diet. Diet helps a bunch. What happened is I would have like the normal signs and symptoms of early pregnancy, but I would brush it off as something else. So on 6 or 7 DPO, which is days past ovulation, I was having implantation cramps. They were very like soft and mild and not very long. Like, I would say I would get them for like 5 minutes at a time a couple times during that time span. So at first I was like, oh yeah, like maybe it could be, but I've actually also felt those before around the same time. So I was like, well, you know, when you're trying to like convince yourself that you're pregnant, your mind can do all sorts of things and make you think things about what symptoms you have. So yeah, I tried this month of all months to not like think about that and just brush it off as something else. And then I was like extremely hungry, so that whole week we were at my friend's house for the snowstorm. I was eating like double portions of what I was normally eating. And what's crazy about it is like, it wasn't just like empty hunger. Like, how do I say this? Okay, my stomach would literally be growling as if it was going through the food that fast. I was so hungry all the time. I just want to put a disclaimer right here. If you're not comfortable with me talking about things like nipples or discharge or, you know, kind of more sensitive things, then tap off this video, because we're about to get into it, because I know your girls out there being like, I want to know what symptoms were, because when you're trying to conceive, you look for all the symptoms everywhere. Okay, I did have like sensitive nipples, but I feel like I actually had it worse. So like when I wasn't pregnant, whenever I wasn't pregnant, I would get really sore boobs, but they would be like intense a week and a half beforehand and stay intense. The difference this time is that it was just barely like sensitive and sore, and then each day it gets more and more sore as I get closer to the day where I technically should miss my period, because that would be tomorrow. Tomorrow would be the day I'd normally start my period. 10 DPO is when I actually took the pregnancy test, and then ever since then I've been noticing more and more symptoms. So on 11 days past ovulation, I was having vivid dreams. So this was only 1 day of me knowing I was pregnant. I was having very vivid dreams. I was almost like hallucinating. Like, that's how real these dreams seemed. It's insane. I've never had dreams like this, where I was actually sitting on this couch and I was exhausted, because when you're in the first trimester, your progesterone spikes and it just makes you super tired. So I was on the couch and I was watching the kids on the monitor and I fell asleep, and I always feel bad falling asleep on the job, but my nanny family always tells me, like, please feel free to sleep when the kids are napping. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, go for it. Don't worry about it. I still feel bad. But whenever I was sleeping, I was dreaming that the kids kept getting up out of bed and running in here saying they were awake. And like, I kept thinking, I guess, that I had missed them waking up and that they were like coming in here wide awake, already awakened. It was happening like 4 or 5 times in my dream, and I was laying there and I was like trying to open my eyes, but it felt like I was trying to move boulders off of my eyes, and it was so hard and I couldn't do it. And I think a couple times, I can't tell for sure or not if I actually did, but I feel like I opened my eyes and saw nothing around me and then went back to sleep a couple times. I don't know, it's very weird. I do want to say also, I've had yellow discharge throughout, which actually when I looked it up, it just kind of like, it is sort of normal, but also it is more so a continuation of my candida overgrowth. So I know that it's normal during pregnancy, but I think it's because when you are pregnant, like, you do also have like hormones that are kind of all over the place. So I don't know, I feel like it's more for me a continuation. But on 12 days past ovulations, so yesterday I was ultra sensitive to smell. And again, I know that this is going like normal, but it was almost like I was it was almost like my nose was clogged up, but it wasn't. And then all of a sudden it just like opened up and I could smell everything. I was driving and I was like, what is that smell? And then I swallowed and I felt like I was tasting what I was smelling. Like, it was that intense. And then I walked into our house and I was like, our house stinks. And then I was like walking by a candle that was not lit and I could smell it, and I was like, that candle's always there and I never smell it. The dishes in the sink, yeah, they have to go. Like, I actually dumped something in our compost pile and I gagged. It was just so bad. So the ultra sensitive to smell thing is like a real deal already. And then cravings. So I started cravings yesterday, which is crazy because normally that doesn't happen until like later in pregnancy. But I legit, like, I do not like pasta salad, okay? I don't like it. I never have. Yesterday I was craving it, and so my sweet friend actually made me some and I ate it today and it was so good, y'all. Like, the weirdest thing. And I came home and I told my husband, I said, so I'm craving a Big Mac, but I just want the lettuce and the sauce. Like, that's the only parts I'm craving. It's so weird. And I was like, I guess I just want a salad with Thousand Island dressing because that's pretty close. All the other symptoms like bloating and sore boobs, like sore boobs are definitely still a thing. I've had bloating. Okay, oh, one other thing. So I looked this up because it was weird to me. I feel sore, like in my lower belly. I feel like I actually worked out, kind of sore. And if I touch it, it's like sore to the touch. I looked this up. Some people can actually feel their uterus growing. And I've been feeling like, not like cramps, but like very mild, like almost like that's what it would be. Very mild little pains and twinges and stuff like that. So I'm just like, this is so weird. I think my body is just very sensitive as a whole to everything. I'm nervous / scared about what's to come because I know this is the very, very, very beginning. Like, I literally am just 4 weeks and 1 day, 2 days, 4 weeks, 2 days. That's it. So yeah, one of the moms I nanny for, who is the mom of the triplets, she said whenever she had Sam, she started having symptoms at 6 weeks. And whenever she had the triplet, she started having symptoms at 5 weeks. And I'm telling her my symptoms and she's like, I'm not saying that you have multiples, but you might have multiples, like twins or something like that. And I'm just like, what? She's like, yeah, you're showing up pretty early, which, let me just tell you, I have seen other people on YouTube, plenty of people actually, see lines as early as like 8 days past ovulation and they just had a singleton, is what they call it. So I mean, it could be, but I also like feel like I might be getting like almost paranoid about it. Like, oh, like, you know, are my symptoms crazier because of that? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to tell myself that I might be having twins and then like not have them and then like be disappointed, because I definitely am not disappointed about having a baby. Just one is fine. Like, seriously, I don't know how we would afford having 2 at once. Buying 2 of everything would kind of stink. That is all for today. Just wanted to go over all my little signs and symptoms. So if you're out there trying to conceive, I feel you. I've been there. I know it is excruciating. I know it is painful. I know it is hard. I cried so many times before this moment. I think I'm still in shock a little bit. I think maybe until I get like the blood test or whatever, I might be like more like, okay, all right, this is happening. We're not going to do ultrasounds until probably at least past the first trimester. I'd like to say I'll wait until 20 weeks, but I don't know if that's actually gonna happen. I think I'm probably gonna want something at 12 weeks, at least past the first trimester, just because of the links that the ultrasounds have to autism, as well as early miscarriage. So I will leave that article linked below. It is a scientific article and it is not conclusive, okay? So just take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying like you're a horrible person if you get the ultrasound early. I would love to, I'm just too scared to. I'm not going to, just because I'm like, there's no reason. It'd be kind of selfish of me to be like, oh, like, yeah, like I'm gonna put my baby at risk just because I want to see them. You know what I mean? And even if it's just like a potential risk, like we've worked so hard to get this far, I'm not going to mess that up. So we are trying to have as natural a birth as possible. I will definitely be going into more detail as time goes on my Tuesday videos. I'm very, very excited to finally be on this side of the camera versus like just watching these kinds of videos, because I watched pregnancy videos all the time and here I am and I can't believe it's actually me this time. So if you're watching this, thank you so much for sticking all the way through. See you next video.